they've played, it's not the most reassuring statistic to have going into you. But today, for them, it's the start of a brand new day. It's the start of a brand new possibility because already they fought their way here. That still has a huge amount of kudos and a huge amount of credit. Their roster's gone through a couple of tumultuous moments without getting into too many details since they made that Cinderella story run. But hey, you never know who shows up to the ball at the end of the day. NIP, they've just been handed a bit of a loss. It was a heck of a game.
It was a heck of a game indeed, and it all came down to the one clash. You know, they didn't check security, the C4 was still below, and it ended the dreams there for the win to continue the unbeaten streak on NIP. But that means there is still another game to play, and we are heading into that now. We see the Capital band and the Thatcher. That will be removed first. NIP now going over to the defensive bands. Seeing as they are starting on the attack, this one will be more important.
That's it. It's the lockdown here. It's what they can kind of, I guess, take away. Parabellum, so far, their games, if you needed a bit of a reminder, and I'm sure Parabellum fans probably don't, they, as well as not having a win, are the only team that's suffered a 7-0 at this point, I believe. I don't think...
Giants got 7-0'd as well, I believe, right?
Oh, did they?
I'm pretty sure. You know what? I'll check it before.
Double check it. It might have been a 7-1.
I think there wasn't...
Either way. Whilst Hap checks that, versus Oxygen, it was a 7-0 slaughter. Is probably the quickest. It was the quickest game, I think, out of all of the ones that we've seen so far. It was straight to the punch, and it was on Oregon. Then they were able to pull through their defenses against MKs on Villa. MK is obviously a team that's been able to have pretty big moments, currently fighting on the other stream. SSG were able to 7-0 Giants as well. A lot of streams, a lot of games going
There's a lot of games. We cannot, it's almost impossible to keep up with all of them in real time. So we always have to watch them back after we relax after a long day of siege.
Exactly.
We're getting in now.
But my point, I was about to very quickly say, is the defenses were taken on Villa. Villa is a pretty hefty map in terms of what you can set up. Oregon, to a degree, it's still being worked out as an even balance either side, but it's still kind of new. Club is the exact opposite of that. If I was going to put those three on a scale, which is just the scale of time, Club is old, Club is out there, and that for me gives Parabellum a little bit of hope here to be able to do some big work on their defenses and really set themselves up with a bit of momentum to maybe finally take their first attacking round win this tournament.
Now, we did see during EWEL that the defensive win rates dwindled on a map like Clubhouse, especially due to the whole new meta that we currently find ourselves in. So let's see whether or not Parabellum is going to have any issues with that. As they decide to go gym bedroom first, and it's an extension down into construction. The shield will be backed up by 2, maybe 3 ADSs now, not this time around. So that's, okay, so shield there in the rotation just to make sure you can challenge that.
Yeah, it gives you that option. We can already see, obviously, NIP, they're making a pretty quick approach here. They're a team that is so fantastic when it matters in trying to get in, but it's also one of the things that they've said they've struggled with a little bit previously in coming into this tournament, making sure that they can set themselves up for a decent pace. You want pace. It's generally in the pockets of Pino or Muzi, but again, you've suddenly got Kamikaze being able to throw himself in. Okay. No more buts, all down to action now as we start our collapse here. Jacuzzi gets popped open first, and they're making sure that hard destruction work is done very early to give themselves a lot of time to be malleable later.
See quickly, you see the shield being relocated, you see the ADSs being, picked up and put down again. Grenades are trying to take care of potential players on that top floor. It is NIP that takes control of CCTV cache any second now. Drones will confirm that indeed no one will be inside and thus freely to be entered. And now the shield is the other way around, and you see that they're going to try and put it down again. So they're again changing the setup here because of the fact that NIP is actually coming through construction.
And obviously not seeing the huge extension that you often see towards the top of red, where you'll have bodies inside cache and trying to hold on for as long as possible. They're not playing that. They've obviously got some reinforcements there to kind of scarper and lock off some angles, but either way, it's a freebie to take over, and, well, this window isn't just as much. Penguin suffers so much as they finally push back. Muzi falls slightly further off the piste, and while Psycho's going to take this opportunity to slow creep and crawl up, the attention's being gathered. They're well aware that there's a body on the main stairs trying to sneak up, and you can see NIP, they're setting themselves up all around this hold. They're just trying to pinch that first body, because as soon as they have that swing, that momentum, you look at Penguin, he's quite isolated there on the corner. You look at Spirits, obviously, he's the body in the room. This could be it. As soon as they get the call, the intel, there's the spray, there's a little bit more damage to Sonar. He's able to keep standing, but the pressure is so high.
The fact that no one died, yeah, with 40 seconds left on that clock is an absolute miracle with the amount of gunfights we've seen. But a grenade will be coming in right now. Sonar still alive, will be forced to go wide, and well, no one is there to catch him. And NIP, they need to go for an execute. 25 seconds, not a single pick to go with, and there's a lot of pressure still coming down from the bathroom. Julio will be the first to fall with Sonar in a run out. Who's trying to go aggressive for the hunt right here? It's going to be a double kill to come through, and Parabellum able to pick up 3 kills on the likes of Nip with only 10 seconds left. It's only Psycho.
What a take that was. Couldn't quite get the second, and Parabellum kept themselves locked down. NIP, as we saw, they were setting themselves up all around the firefight, but they couldn't quite cinch that opening body to give themselves the confidence to say, well, let's go take it. Parabellum, got to give them credit there, reacting, rotating and moving, keeping themselves alive. Okay, 2 of the players were on very little amounts of health, but it's still health, it's still running, and then you're able to get in, get gunning, and get the first body off the board. Well played, Sonar. And as I said, these defenses, if we can see some Parabellum momentum here, that could really help them when it goes over the turn of the half.
It could indeed really help them if they manage to get a couple of rounds in, but we still got to keep in mind the NIP defense is also one to fear. Managed to pick up 4 rounds in Oregon against MIBR earlier. So Parabellum needs to make sure that they do have, let's say, 2-3 rounds, hopefully 4, maybe even 5 if they're lucky at it. It's NIP, well, they were a bit slow, they set themselves up, but like, that's kind of the thing, right? They had like everything set out, but they just didn't pull like the rope to make sure that Parabellum would stumble over them. And with that, they were able to get these gunfights their own way. And NIP are the ones that are around behind right now. Of course, it's only 1 round of the 12 that are supposed to be played, and there's plenty of time to come back. And as NIP, of course, very experienced team, just came off of a heartbreaking defeat. Managed to fight it back to OT, managed to bring themselves up to a 7-7. They are going to be maybe starting a bit slow, still in the rhythm of that game. Where now they need to match it to actually Parabellum. 1 person on site, I believe, that could be vulnerable to a rush if NIP recognizes it.
NIP were very good at reading the rest of the map previously. As we saw, they were very quick to get in and get the hard destruction done on Jacuzzi, but it's actually just finishing the job, getting that pinch and pulling the body away. Parabellum, they played it dangerously and close to the fire, but they made sure that the burns they had, well, they were just over most of their body and not the entirety. Here, though, Psycho. He's trying to get the tracks on Sonar, who drops further back. You can see it's the combination and kind of coalition of these guns that are just steadying away towards the Canadians, who are otherwise being pushed, but not entirely handing over the territory. They're making sure that they're still causing a problem. And that's the main bit here. If they can delay as much as possible over these top 2 floors, when it comes down to that final push towards the site itself, it's going to be a much tougher affair with barely any time.
Meantime, they have dropped the drone. Will confirm again a lot of damage done to a member of Parabellum. Sonar quite low on HP now. Penguin will get droned out, but decides to not drop yet. Stays close to the fire, the oil pits ladder though, so he has the opportunity to drop in if necessary. And as now pressure seems to be coming down from multiple angles, he will be dropping, choosing his life over anything else.
And that's it. Very well played there by Parabellum. They knew what they had to do, and they did it with textbook stylings, obviously. A lot of utility has now been blown out of the pockets. Just slipped past the hatch that goes above him. Psycho, a little bit late to the party. Doesn't quite get to the first catch, which would have potentially given Nip a lot more kind of wind behind their wings, but they set themselves up for a bit of a split aside here towards the kitchen. The hatch is being eyed hungrily by the Habana, as you can see the drone working in electric. It's going for a pretty standard push and setup here. It's otherwise hatches. This is the situation they were in the previous round, and this is when things started to fall away from them.
Yeah, but all hatches are being opened up right now. Some vertical pressure will be created as well, and that is surely going to be forcing Eska to not be on that pulse scanner for too long. But as I said, I believe he's going to be trying to get a C4 out. He's going to detonate, but no damage done. And in the meantime already, however, Julio on the back of the triple wall right here is going to be trying to put some damage down. He's playing that Maverick, has the opportunity to create a sight on the smokes now are being put down as the first kill. Psycho takes down Penguin. With 20 seconds left, they need to move.
Now, close angles here as they shepherd themselves around the back of the smoke. You can see them flooding in via Moto. They're looking for the close corners onto the church itself. Pre-firing round, there's 2 bodies that are locked down. Pino can't get one, so they get them themselves. Spirits, though, gets the drop on the diffuser man, and now it's blue. That is all the point of ingress. No, the backside of pipes, but with a cold diffuser, Parabellum just do enough to keep it on, but just enough is still a win.
It is still enough indeed, and well, the miscommunication came down there from NIP as the replays, of course, coming in, showing you the initial kill first, but the issue here was that Julio taking the kill down onto the bar. You don't expect the second player to be there. Spirits was in that position, able to drop the diffuser. With that, the round is efficiently going to be won by the defenders if nothing happens, if no attacks are being pushed in to make sure that they get the kills, and as a result, Parabellum now leading by 2 rounds. NIP yet to find one. Stepping up well. Good start here from the Canadians. And let's see if they can continue this to try and bring the fight to LATAM and be the last. Well, I believe Giants also didn't have a win yet. Did they win?
Defenders, protect your bombs.
I don't know.
Giants, no. They're the 2 teams on the bottom.
Yeah.
Parabellum and Giants neither have a win. The 2 teams in the tournament that haven't been able to pull a point from anyone. We're on club, and Hap is casting bar stock time.
I hope so.
You can't have that effect on the EU teams that we cast every single day. You won't have that effect on.
I mean, they didn't go to it in the end, so who knows? Maybe Parabellum is going to pull out a crazy strategy that no one will predict. But hey, what I was trying to go to was maybe Parabellum will be able to set themselves up for a very good matchup here against NIP. Create another upset. Because we hear James say it, no one expects him to win here.
No. And that's good energy to have in the situation of you're in the competition with all the best teams playing in the world. Underdog energy can sometimes work very well in your favor. You've got to take into consideration this is a long play day. Every single group's day is a long mess of best of ones, and you know, you only really have a certain amount of time. Now, every team has done prep on every single team. There's no 2 ways about that. These are all professional teams of the highest caliber. Everybody knows the stuff. But at the same time, if you're looking at, all right, well, we've got this first matchup against a huge team, and then we've got Parabellum afterwards, immediately, we need to try and get ourselves and our energy high in this first game. It was a high-energy match, and it took a lot out of NIP. And they didn't quite get there in the end, which also shifts the mental. It puts you in a tricky situation, which if Parabellum, as I said, can exploit some of that momentum and bring themselves into this, well, they might be able to shut out and then get themselves a shut in on their attacks. Here, though, NIP, they're very quick in getting open the hard walls. It's just finalizing the execution, which we see them set up for. But that 3-2-1 is a little bit out of time right now.
This is the side that got the relative quickest out of the 4 that are on Clubhouse, of course, and the highest drop in percentage for the win rate of the defenders as well. So NIP, they have a good chance. I was going to say, was that a shot of him? Though? No, Muzi on the other side, able to pick up the entry kill. Instantly gets traded out, though. Spirits from the rafters able to take down the man. Zofia trying to go for a second, but will not be landing. It has to be careful because there's a lot of pressure literally coming from everywhere.
Yeah, they know that they need that rafters now that they've got that CC wall open. They're going for a pretty standard take, but Spirits, he was trying everything to hold on, but Pino's able to take over that verticality, take over the rafters, and now they've just got to see if they can slip in before it becomes something that falls into Parabellum's hands yet again. A 4 versus 3 isn't over as Eska goes for a bit of a rotation and a wide to see if he can either draw some attention or potentially even more blood from the aggressors as Sonar keeps themselves locked in. Still a lot of work left to do, and with an Echo drone and all of the smoke canisters in the pockets as well as a C4, they are set up to wait and bait this default plant spot for a long period of time. NIP still have to open up this wall itself. They want to make a clean entrance as they're doing right now. They have to bait a lot of utility if they want to try and get a clean plant off, because one more misstep with the diffuser, as we saw in the previous round, could lead to another disaster.
It can indeed. Smokiness is being tossed out. That's two. Kamikaze will now be forced to go quite aggressive. Asuka, the last man standing in this 4v1 situation, has that C4, the Nitro, to play with, but shots are coming down from either side. Tosses it out wildly, but it will not matter in the end. It's Pino with the final kill, and it's NIP that picks up their first round here against Parabellum. Sets them on the scoreboard. Might even kick them off into motion right now.
Well, CCTV has suffered. I know you quoted the statistics very quickly there, but at the hands of that NIP attack where things started to go their way, if I'm going to say the other ones are out of rhythm on the execute, that was perfect. They knew about all the utility that I'd obviously listed, and they pushed deep. You saw the diffuser try and run as hard and heavy towards the top of red as possible with a couple of bits of cover to make sure that if they didn't get the first kill, they were damn sure going to get that trade, and then also pick the diffuser back up, which they didn't have a system for before once the second body was dropped inside. The other two on their previous attempt down in church didn't quite come to fruition, but moral of the story, CC, it's a very well-known site. The holds, the takes, it's all a lot of default. So the team that's able to run that with the confidence as we see there means that's why it's falling so consistently. And that's why for a lot of teams, you may have noticed across all the regions, it's become not the primary site for everybody.
Yeah, for a lot of it has become the tertiary site, and it is quite strange to see that the best site turns into the worst that many teams do own in their playbook. And of course, we do not take the fourth side into account as it never gets played. But NIP,
that's the most controversial statement I think you and I have as a casting duo. Is if Bar and Stock was a better designed site, I think we would have seen a lot more of it this season.
I mean, we've even been thinking about how to design it a little bit differently, so we'd see play.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more talented people, but I honestly think if it had a little bit more to it, I'm not going to say it would be better than CC, not in any sense of the word.
It might be played.
It might be played. And that, I guess, shows how bad Bar Stock is in its current state.
Yeah, definitely doesn't seem to be working out. NIP this time. They were slow the last time they attacked on this top floor. They basically set up everything, but they did not snap their fingers. That was literally what was missing, and as again, we see the quick opening on the jacuzzi wall within the 30-second mark. There's a bunch of damage being done down onto Sonar as well as he walks past trying to get behind the mattress. Now on top of the bed.
Bomb located by attackers.
It's NIP that is just holding off these angles right here, and now we need to look at them. How are you going to be dealing with that issue? We knew there was a bit of pressure coming down from the main stairs. Now, the adaptation we see is Julio that is playing inside a stock, I believe. We also see Psycho playing inside a strip. They have the opportunity to be the push from the inside, move up these stairs and try and bring the fight towards Parabellum, whilst the rest is looking to find different angles. Maybe on the windows, maybe on the jacuzzi balcony, maybe even from logistics if you decide to drop in from there. But they do need to be quicker. That is the main point. They need to put more pace down on this attack and try and force these openings onto Parabellum. You have to gun scale. You need to get these shots down.
Not that window, Penguin, as you suffer scrapes from Muzi, who's on deep on the hang, just on the opposite side of Strip. It's a little bit of a touchy moment here. As all of the walls around you start to fall, we've seen some huge plays dug in from absolutely heroic holds inside gym and bedroom, but it becomes very intense very quickly, and that doesn't make things easier. Penguin off the board first, the smokes are gone, Sonar almost follows up, the pings are consistent, and this is what I'm talking about, pulled away and absolutely torn apart by Muzi. He's holding deep, has that flank, has the double window, and now Spirits has the opportunity to try and pull some of this round back. Kamikaze sticks the plant, probably, as there's not really anything that could stop him apart from the echo, but he's not on it.
I was going to say the Valkyrie's moving in a position where he could go for a potential C4 toss-up, but taken out, and now Spirit's the last man standing, moving up the main stairs, hoping to get some kills down. Gets one, goes for the second, but that one will not happen. Julio is the quicker one on the trigger, and NIP will be able to win round number 4. We're all equalizing it now, 2-2. And let's see if they can build on this momentum, or if it's going to be Parabellum that is going to try and retake it.
2-2 now, and obviously they've been able to pull themselves back into the game, as you said. I think some of the things that we're starting to see, though, from Parabellum that's a bit of a good sign for me is Spirits starting to show up. Now, if you're looking at their performance in CL, okay, the competition, surprisingly, isn't as tough as it is here at SI. He's on a plus 27. Esker's on a plus 26 in terms of their KD, in terms of what they're able to do. Those two players, well, the whole team's on minuses, but if they find a bit more confidence in their guns, if they find a little bit more blood and a little bit more numbers behind them, we might start to see them grow. We might start to see them explode across the board, and things like that rotation there, leading in with his gun, trying to find the fights. You know, it's showing a growth since the last playday we saw, and you're kind of like, come on, get a little bit more, get a little bit bolder.
Will definitely be, as we are heading back towards the basement. Parabellum. Well, you can remember from the last time they were around here, it was a very heavy top floor hold. We had 2-3 people down on that top floor trying to hold off NIP as long as they possibly could, and they succeeded in that. They managed to stall out so much time. However, NIP is a team that quickly learns, is what we praise them for. They adapt on the go, they adapt during the days, and they manage to become a better team as a result of it. So if they're going to do the exact same thing and run 2, 3, maybe even 4 people down on top floor, they might just go and rush in from oil pit or something like that.
Well, the adaptations coming through here is Pino's going to lead across construction. They want to cut off the rotation of anybody that might be playing around. It's a lot of time-wasting potential here in the hands of, obviously, that combination of the Mozzie and the Mute. Lockdown with a little bit of angles and no cameras or drones inside allowed, so they hot drone their way up and see if they can match that fire with a little bit of gunfire too. Make sure everything is as peppery as it can be. They are taking from a different side and a different angle this time. Instead of forcing them across from gym bedroom down, obviously, towards blue, they're going for the split push, pushing them down main stairs, putting the pressure in a slightly different method to see if they can catch the loose body a little bit earlier. Not yet, but he's not too far away from one man inside gym. Spirits has held on potentially a little bit too late. He is able to take a heck of a shot against Psycho. There was a bit of a watch and a bit of a gasp and a bit of a held breath, but that's a bit of confidence that I wanted to see from a man with huge bravado potential.
That is the confidence you like to see. So on a great call coming down from Parabellum. Instantly, everybody, you see them rotating down towards the site. They have that man advantage. It's time to turtle now. Maybe you're going to be able to get your third round out of this one. As the descent has started, Mozzie trying to make his way down these main stairs. Nice and easy. Potentially picking up a kill, but look, the Spirit's still active inside of the kitchen. This is a situation he's not getting out of alive, but he might be able to still pick up a kill or two if NIP is not paying attention. Windows are being busted. I'm not quite sure if they're well aware, but it's going to be there you have it. They know they're there now. Is that 2 members? Actually, no, it was the other way around. Never mind. I thought he was inside Meat Locker hiding, but it was NIP. I was like, did they lock up again with 2 of them? But no. But the refrag's there, finally.
They're bold, but not that bold. But a minute on, we're seeing, obviously, the first one battled back as Spirits tried to find yet another fight. Look at the low health, though, that is in the pockets of Hibana. They go for a bit of a drop there. There's the pressures of potentially being caught by the sides of a C4, just a scrape of anyone's gun, and you're just sort of lying there bleeding out on the bottom of the floor. You've got to be a bit of a double down for Kamikaze here as you swing and pirouette around the top of the hatch. There it is. There's the gun that scrapes the first, doubles down and finds a second. Penguin locks off the corridor and finds their first 2 kills for the game. What a moment as the pressure starts to cook all over, but suddenly it's over. Julio finds himself as the only one left alive with 20 seconds and a cold diffuser buried inside blue. Drops the Banshee with a close frag grenade and wants to swing round as soon as it pops. There it goes, but there they go. There's one on the right. There the drop. And Parabellum find themselves around again.
Look at the discharge from the team as they managed to pick that one up. They're back in the lead again for a short while, and I'd be able to bring it back to equal levels. It all started off with this beautiful shot from Spirits, and they were doing a lot of damage down to Pino. Just 1 HP before he lost his life. Didn't matter in the end. Parabellum again, a lot of time wasted. NIP not able to make that roam clear nice and effective, losing a couple of members in the process, and at that point it is going to be their final attack again, going down to either CCTV or the gym in the bedroom. And it seems to be CCTV this time that we're going down from.
CC. Let's see if we can set ourselves up for a bit more success. They're not going to opt for Gym Bedroom, and what we saw from here on NIP before, as we painted, was their first round win, was a very good default take. They dug in across CC, went for Rafters control, so you can set up that split angle, and then instead of trying to wait out and bait out all the utility and give themselves a very little amount of time to work with after that period, they dug deep, trusted their gun skill, the man advantage, the trades that they set up for as they dug through as well, and found themselves with their first bit of success. But Parabellum, well, I guess it's the first time we get to see how they respond to a moment like that. Are they going to try and give themselves a little bit more room for countenance? Are we going to see, again, I'm looking at Spirits, I'm looking at the confidence of the Roam that he held on a bit longer and a bit later in the previous round and was able to take that opening kill and able to take that opening bit of pressure away from them, keep NIP guessing and keep them slow, and you might keep yourselves up with some good chances.
Might keep yourself up indeed, and like the Decade is being brought out. Not quite sure where the Electric Claws have been deployed. If they have been, yeah, they have. Surely isn't on the main wall. Might be trying to put one down from below to make sure that that would be a good execute, but fixing. Oh, okay, there we have it. It is on the garage walls, making sure those stay close. Of course, they do have a Maverick. It's almost impossible to make sure that this wall will stay close in the current meta. But oh, the heart breaches by. Muzi just missing the shot, trying to go even more aggressive now. Spots out the head and gets it down onto Euphoria. Beautiful kill. And that's going to be the opening the NIP need to make sure that they're elevating themselves in this round.
Here it comes. Here comes that little bit of pressure, and there goes that echo. Big, big bit of utility. Those cameras, well, they're just cameras. Now, all they're going to give you is some intel, but the pressure itself has taken off. Now, we can see that adaptation in that push from NIP. They won the round before, but they're still going to try and opt for something a little bit different here as they reconvene and relocate over to try and make something perfect inside the construction itself. Parabellum are responding to this. They're going for a bit of a deep roam, as we can see. New angles being opened across the top of red. They hear and feel the pressure that is prevalent around logistics, and now inside construction itself, a very cheeky angle. Will it lead to success? Peppered a bit too early, and unfortunately nobody caught.
Nobody caught indeed. Pino using the X-Kairos to open up into the construction wall. However, a Mute Gemmer will be blocking that. Will have to be dealt with first, and the option to do that is going to be to use some verticality, but Psycho's being watched and being waited for, but Aska not able to pick up that kill. Goes NIP's way. Pino now going aggressive as well. Taking a second. Penguin will die. It's only up to Spirits and Soda now to try and win this half, as they need to chip down 5 members of NIP their HP bars.
Well, a minute is so much time for the attackers to work with here, and they still have a huge amount of utility. Force Sonar into an uncomfortable situation. He gets a bit aggro, but can't catch the man. The shotgun follows up, but NIP follows up with a method of their own, which is kill them both, take a flawless, and head over to their defense with some momentum.
Well played there. Able to get these kills in. And NIP now back on a 3-on-3 situation. Let's see if they can hold on to that. We saw during the previous game that their attacks were way better. Just a beautiful shot by Muzi, by the way, to start it off. And Eska, unfortunately, like 2 of these gunfights could have gone either way in that case, and all due to them going to NIP. They managed to pick up the round as a result of it. Round number 7 is underway soon. Just a 6-pick phase now. Maybe some of these strategies will change, but it doesn't look likely. Oh, there we have it. The smoke out to the Echo. As we are going to Church Arsenal. So the bottom floor will be first for NIP, unlike the gym and the bedroom that we saw Parabellum bring as their primary bomb site. Let's see what kind of a setup they're running. You see Muzi, you see him on that vigil.
I see him.
Yeah, he's going to be trying to go for a good roam, I think.
You know who's not going to see him?
The drones.
The drones.
The drones, indeed.
And he's going to set himself up. I talked about this very briefly, that information wait and bait game that you play across the top 2 floors. It's obviously something where you can be hyper-aggressive with it when you have, obviously, the castle kind of reinforcing off plays in the middle, most commonly known as the SSG roam, but it's had so many adaptations since then. Like, you kind of put an asterisk next to that. It's like the SSG roam, it's the delicious bread, and everyone started to add their own stuff on top of it.
Everybody tries to make their own recipe.
Everyone's making their own sandwich. But that's the play that you can do this with the setup. Obviously, you got the Pyjamas as well. Muzi's going to set himself up with the ability to burn a lot of time. The Melusi of Julio is currently playing up there too. They've also got some hard reinforcements around the top, so they've dedicated themselves towards being a problem. Not any longer. Asker cuts a man in half, but most importantly, cuts off the middle of this drop. If they want to rotate out, they're going to have to try it over the bedroom, over the main stairs. Blue is no longer safe as it could have been, and that's what we're going to start to see. Muzi pulls himself back. The one thing, though, is the Melusi of Julio is actually still above them, playing a bit aggro, I think.
Just trying to
no, have they gone off as well?
Might have gone.
Oh, they've fallen now.
Indeed, they have. Drones taken out. See the refrown. He's here. Okay, never mind. He's just playing around, trying to find a kill right here. Actual C4 coming in from Psycho as we see a vertical being created. That's going to be putting the pressure just back a little bit because now they're aware of the fact that Julio is on the top floor, or at least a player is on the top floor. They don't know who it is, and they need to clear him out at some point. And as long as you're staying put in cash, doesn't have to worry about a thing because Parabellum needs to send the utility and the manpower towards him if they really want to clear it.
Yeah, they've obviously sort of put him over there and said, well, I'm here. And Parabellum, I think they're deciding what to do. You can see they're discussing it. They're working out whether they want to try and just push towards the site and leave the one body on the main door across the lounge to try and catch them if they go that way. They obviously still have a huge amount of work left to do as well before they're able to finally find their way in. So Esker digs his way through dirt to see what's underneath. It's Psycho who drops a drone in the end and tries to stay there. Muzi suffers on the opposite side towards main stairs as they finally start to do their coalesced push either side on the split of the kitchen hatch too. You can see big rotations coming through to back up the butt, but he gets that opener and he gets a lot of territory with a minute on.
Great kill coming in indeed, and that is going to be turning it back into a Parabellum round for now at least. They have the man advantage. They need to make sure that they trade this out. 60 seconds left. The plant's going down in the meantime. Is there a response from Nib? Yes, there is. Muzi on the top floor potentially.
Attackers are activating the bomb.
Well, suddenly a triple kill for Esker. He dug his way through dirt and he did big bits right now. Dug all the way through the opponent's. Muzi is a big blow here as Kamikaze drops the first. There's still one loose red body going for a big rotation. It's, I believe, Esker who's gone really far away out to the back of kitchen. And that's going to be the firefight that matters. Quad kill for Esker. He's setting himself up for an ace clutch situation here. The pings are coming. There's only 20 seconds left on the board. That rotation round the back of dirt was perfect. Thank you, medics, for the fresh angle, but he pops off anyway. He's well aware the man's up there, but he's also well aware he's only got a handful of seconds left. Got to stick it. Well, this is a round that goes to Esker's favor with a scrap of health. He's causing problems, but he's winning rounds. Parabellum.
Very well played. You see them being so happy, so energetic about it. They're winning another round right here to take in the lead and bringing it to them 3-4. Parabellum leading. We praised them about their defensive rounds. That's where they managed to take some home. Now they got their attack round as well, and they need to make sure that they continue doing so if they want to continue putting the pressure down onto NIP and make sure they might take their first win home here to bring the fight to Giants, because someone is going to be going home at some point. And whilst I'm quickly going to check over to see what the score is, like we don't have the, Okay, I'm struggling right now trying to... Never mind. I'll do that later. I was trying to pull up the other live stat, but it didn't work.
Medics is a wonderful observer. Medics has just observed me that chat is apparently confused about the HAP. So, HAP, my wonderful co-caster, discovered that whilst a player is planting, you can move the camera as the observer.
Not for the player, just
not for the
us.
player. So if you're ever watching this whole tournament, because HAP discovered it, told others about it, and no official observer, regardless of how great they are, which they have been. I just want to take a quick word. Easy and Medics across the two streams. We work like every other game or whatever. They're working every single game, every single day.
They're grinding.
They are so god dang good. But either way, they hadn't heard of it. So if you guys ever see the camera move in a post-plant situation when someone's defusing, it's just the observer. But how cool is it when he swung up there to have a look at if the buck would get the angle?
This was when I discovered it. I was like, this is what is beautiful. Right? When you're like, okay, so that you can look up to where they're supposed to come from, and you get a little bit more action than just a filling bar. But NIP currently around behind. 6-4 in the meantime, by the way. Giants versus Makers. Giants is leading there, so Parabellum really need this win right now. They need to make sure that they stay in the fight so they can bring it up to the 1v1 against Giants to decide who potentially gets to stay in.
Honestly, that round was Esker's, and I'm not just saying that because the man almost pulled an ace. For me, the round-winning moment there was the rotation back up dirt towards Kitchen. Obviously, it relied on the Maverick keeping himself solid for a while and then winning that gunfight, but that bit of game sense, that was it. That was the round. Was theirs, locked off and loaded.
The high ground, it's important in any post-plant situation. The high ground is literally what wins you these games, and that is why he tried to make sure that they continued to have that in control, as Hatch is quickly going to be opened up by the Buck. Really trying to go for a bit of a roam, but gets spotted out, so decides to stay put. 1 minute 50. Kamikaze in dirt tunnel. Pino still roaming all the way on that top floor, has the opportunity to go for a very great flank right here, but it seems like Parabellum is aware as they're quickly entering inside the construction, opening up an angle into logistics as well. And as Pino goes by, spots that one player, goes even more aggressive than he might has to be careful to not be caught. Instead he catches Esker, brings the favor into NRP's hand and stays alive. That's the most important part.
Now, can the rest of Parabellum step up? Obviously, we said it at the beginning of the game, but Dev's done his bit to remind us that that was the first round on attack won by Parabellum this entire tournament. It's a big bit. It's a big kind of breath of fresh air. Now they know that they can do it. They just got to try and double down and do it without the man that, to be fair, won the previous round. It's not as tough as I'm making it out to be. You know that you have the ability to start putting your pinch down. There's a minute off, but you look at Pino still on the top floor. He's uncontested for now. They ignored a player on the top floor before and started doing their push, but he's already found blood and bodies and found what was the spearhead through the heart of the defense before. If he's left entirely unchecked, you know he's likely to cause problems. Here we go, though. Spirits creeps his way down towards utility boxes. Penguin holds the close angle on Moto and it's eyed from the top by a man who will take maybe 5 seconds to get the drop. But Penguin and Muzi find one apiece. There's the trade on the door, and there's Pino finding his way down above the Moto hatch itself. Spirit still hasn't got a straight entrance, and Sonar is entirely pinging off those little pops to give him the intel. There's an important firefight won by Euphoria above. Sonar has some cover, but also only 10 seconds. They swing close, and Kamikaze and Muzi get one apiece. It's all just Euphoria digging through. There's a body either side. He's only got a handful of seconds left to find a double or get a diffuser down. He's going to go with only one route out, which is unfortunately no one found.
No one found indeed. The rotation already came through. Remember, the defender was inside of Motorcycle, as you would have seen in the end of round gameplay coming through. And Parabellum losing out on that round. It happens. They at least brought the fight to NRP. Unfortunately, not able to close out these final gunfights. We're finding ourselves in a 4-on-4 right now. And then if you bring up that stat where this was their only attacking round they have won so far in the entire tournament, that's not looking great for Parabellum. However, it is going to be a new day. It is a new game. So maybe they're going to be able to at least put up these attacking rounds consistently here today, after the little off day they had yesterday, watching Group A, preparing themselves for the matchup here against NIP.
The hot swap to Clash is the big change there. Frost on this site, we've seen her played quite a lot. Occasionally gets a victim, but it's a shield that you can set up on the bed if you want to have that bit of an angle. It's a bit more time that could cost the utility or a little bit of confidence. We think of all the times we see those last second dying moment pushes through those windows, or potentially a hot between construction and logistics if they've got that angle and that rotation open. They haven't done it at the kind of hop level. They've done it as a crouch hold, but either way, you'll sometimes see it played there. The super bold, try and put one underneath the logistics hatch itself and hope that the debris of the hatch being broken covers it. I say that's super hopeful because I don't think I've ever seen that be successful.
The thing is, it is hard to challenge. You have to throw a piece of utility in, I think.
You can just shoot it.
Well, it depends on where you put it down.
All right,
there's a railing that is blocking off one part of the angle, so you need to get really close to the edge of the roof.
Once upon a time, you used to be able to walk along that, but I don't know.
Yeah, you can. You need to run, and it's dangerous. You barely see it anymore. But it is still possible, of course. But, like, you know, people have to get close to the edge. Of course, it gets droned out. They'll take care of it nonetheless. But it is, of course, to waste a little bit of time, mainly, rather than grabbing them off guard.
Steady angles from underneath. We've seen people get absolutely slapped from this exact position, so it's a bit of a dangerous game, but Kamikaze's actually leading inside with the shield instead, making sure that they have that solid across the top of the red here. Spirits, in the meantime, has kind of seen that there's a lot of free real estate currently playing around rafters. They're putting a bit of a heavy congestion here. And I talked about this before when we saw Parabellum's defense, is they did some reinforcements on the CC and cache connector wall, the wall between, but no external hard reinforcements were played here. It was very quick for NIP to get control and get in, and then they actually opted to go put the pressure on elsewhere. Here, though, 3 bodies all the way across, massive amounts of utility. There's still a lot locked in on the opposite side and way more ADSs to burn through. Spirits loses a huge amount of health underneath from a different firefight by the looks of it, potentially passing the bottom of red, but Penguin digs deep. He's being zapped. There's one more body on the close corners. He swings round, predicts it, and Clash slips away. Suddenly, there's another body coming up the bottom of red too. Look at this. Parabellum entirely swarm over the top of red stairs, take one more for good measure, and Clash is finding herself on very tricky ground. Frost is doing the best with the 9mm to offer cover, but it is very quickly turning into a get back, get back, get back, get back. Okay, you're back at the door now. You have yourself back into a situation where they can try and reconvene, but there goes the logistics hatch. Psycho is now in a lot of danger. He can't get as aggressive into construction as you could see that he wanted to, but he's still going to try that dangerous game. Drop to drone, tries to get the second as Parabellum are trying to find him next, but with 40 seconds, well, they're going to do the same thing. Get in, get aggro, and get quick as they swing round, drop back, though. As Psycho gets a double, can't quite find the third, as Clash is yet again isolated and twirling in the middle of a room. There is one more body to offer support over the shoulder. The Frost who covered the retreat from previous engagements, but with 2 other players that you've lost your eye on, you know that they're going to be trying to dig their way into the site itself. 20 seconds and Euphoria finally tries to find the plant, but look at the health and Spirits and Eska with a Clash no longer on the board. I was about to say it's an issue, but now it's just a matter of avoiding a gunfight. Euphoria finds the post plant, but Eska makes sure it doesn't last any longer.
Very well played right here by Parabellum, just shutting them down on that top floor, putting everything you can. And well, normally the response would be against the clashes, let's not peek that. Well, Parabellum's reply is, you know, let's just rush it with 5 people at the same time and make sure that we have these trades going for them. And Parabellum able to pick up that round is going to be putting themselves 4-5 up. They are 1 removed from a potential match point here. Are they going to be able to make it happen? Are they going to be able to set themselves up onto a match point and make sure that they are going to be walking away with this one? Parabellum, can you make it happen? NIP, are you going to be shutting them down right now? CCTV cache will be the site that gets played. NIP has the choice.
We have a bit of a rehost.
Okay.
We have a bit of a moment. If you're wondering why we've pulled ourselves back onto this screen and why the players are looking a little bit more relaxed, then, hey, we're still 1 step ahead. It's only 1 step ahead, but it's up against NIP.
Yeah.
If this is somehow your first SI, thank you. Welcome. I hope you're enjoying the show.
Welcome.
Second, NIP were the runners-up in the previous...
Yeah, and they didn't change their roster either. So
didn't change their
roster. Same roster that is competing here now.
Taken at the very end by an NA team, SSG. I'm sure there's a lot of NA fans that are well aware of that fact inside chat.
Yep.
And it was very close. It was only a few rounds that really separated them being able to lock it off. It was a heck of a sweep and maybe one of the best stories in esports. I'm entirely biased, but Canadian being able to lift the hammer. What a story. Either way, Parabellum are pushing them to the edge. Parabellum are able to apply a huge amount of pressure here to a team that, by all expectations, should have taken this game. By the audience expectations.
Oh, yes.
From the social vote.
87% NIP,
87%
13% was Makers. So, not Makers, Parabellum. Sorry. I was just quickly checking on the score again. I cannot read and do 2 things at the same time. Either way, they are stepping up big time here. They are showing what they're made of. Not many would have expected them to actually take a win home. And, well, as I said, this might be a very important matchup for them. If they manage to take the point here, they might secure themselves a spot in the playoffs, depending on how their game against Giants will go and how Giants will do during the remainder of the group.
One of the things worth pointing out here as well, based on Parabellum's performance, as I've said before, it's very kind of confident. It's got a lot more swing to it. They opened up being dispatched.
Yep.
Is the politest way of putting it.
That's a good way to say it.
It's a very polite way of putting it in a very quick game. And from then on, you then go into another game after that, and it's tough because you're the underdog, sure, but at the same time, there's putting up a fight, and then there's facing the first 7-0 defeat inside this competition. At the same time, look at how they've been able to bounce back. They've obviously had the day to kind of get their heads back together. We're seeing much better performances from very important players that drove the team to this situation, and the ones that are driving the team inside CL, a competition that they're much more relaxed and much more familiar with.
Yeah.
Just in this game alone, they've obviously been able to pull not only their first attacker rounds, they get one more round.
It's 2 now.
They've, is it tripled?
Well...
Because they've only been able to pull 3 rounds so far.
If you go from 0 to nothing, from 0 to 2, that's like, you cannot...
3 total rounds they got across the first day.
Yes, true. And now they have 5, so it's okay, so...
I'm really bad at maths.
Okay,
they go from having 3 rounds to
9
earning
total.
6
so
today.
That's times 3.
Yeah.
If you get total round count...
Moral of the story, for people like me out there that are really bad at maths, it's a great result. It's a great push, and they have a little bit of a momentum break, a little bit of time to chat there. So do NIP. It's always worth noting that, obviously, in that rehost situation, these things happen. They have a little bit of a moment and a time to go, look, we got to get ourselves back together, because the way that we're seeing Parabellum push in those 2 engagements, okay, the first was Esker going deep, but it was combined with the other bodies that were moving down main stairs at the same time, that were hitting kitchen hatch at the same time. Then that round there, the intense flood of bodies up the bottom of red as they pushed over the top and took control of rafters. They went all in, and they got the jackpot of dropping the 2 bodies inside and putting Clash isolated. From that point on, Nip were on the back foot. They got to see if they can have a handle on these Canadian Mavericks.
Big question indeed. Can they get a handle on here, or is Parabellum going to be setting themselves up with a double match point situation at the end of this round? Pyjamas is taken care of. That allows the thermite of Sonar to put down the exothermic charge if they want to. In terms of pressure from below coming in as well. They have the exothermic is being placed down, and some cover is being provided through the bit of a Maverick hole that was created. This makes it vulnerable to a potential impact as well, but Muzi not close enough to make sure that that will not pop. Spirit's going quite aggressive again. That's Kamikaze taken care of. That is the backstairs control now, control of Parabellum, and is he going to be able to find more than that as the push continues?
They have bodies, they have backup, they have one more, but Julio has a bit of a handle back on Sonar. Look at this, Penguin, he's got the diffuser, but he's going deep. He's trying to find, and he does. Gets another kill, and suddenly the site is there. As I said, they moved with pace, and they said, we can go even faster, watch us. Deciding what to do, the C4 over the top gets him perfect! As the diffuser goes cold now, but they have a minute 30 in a 2 versus 1. Drone still in pocket. They're setting up their utility and playing the game the way they have to. They know that they have a huge possibility. It's a tough grab on the diffuser, but the cover comes through, as does the hot pings on both of them. They're well aware of where each other is, and they know that Pino's going to peek either side of this. He sticks it. Puts us into a post-plant situation. That's problem 1 done. The second problem, it's Pino. He's dropped, though. Euphoria and Parabellum push themselves to map point.
Map point to go. 2 of them it will be. And NIP, well, they just fell against MIBR, but they were up in a 4-on-6 situation in that case as well. They then had to fight it back. So they are in the same situation now, except the major difference. Back then they were under attacks. Now they are on the defense. It's supposed to be better. So far not really showing up yet. And Parabellum absolutely going to be making a couple of people very, very happy if they continue to keep this up. And the tactical timeout gets called. NIP is going to have to discuss a couple of things, because this is not going according to plan, because they put up these shields, they put up the Clash, and they're like, they are there to slow down the opponent. They are there to strike fear into their hearts. And Parabellum is like, we're here. No one expects us to win. We can play like that. We can play like no one will expect us to win. No fear, just rush it with everybody we got. And there's nothing they can do. They overrun them. They grab the site. They grab these kills. They grab the round. And now they have a match point.
Honestly. It's like, want to watch me run into site? Want to watch me do it again?
Maybe we'll see it again, you know? Who knows? Like, so again, Clash together with 2 people as backup. Doesn't matter. They just run in and get the gun skill. Like, that thing zaps, all right. But if you're quicker on the trigger when they push, it's 0 ping. It's LAN.
That's it. I think the thing there as well is obviously, you know, and I'm not going to say confidence too many times, but the coordination of them to go all in. You realize how much mentality that takes and trust in a team and a roster to go, we're against NIP. Listen, crouch walking up red. You guys have the cover from CC and Rafters. Let's go hard. And it completely knocked NIP back. They didn't expect it, as I don't think anyone did. It was a push happening. You know, they were inside sight with 2 minutes left.
It was a very quick round. I know we've discussed why it got quicker, but this is not the reason why, everybody watching at home. This is not what we normally see. This is, you can almost say, unusual siege that we are seeing, but it is working out perfectly. It counters what NIP is doing because they will win on the one-on-one gunfights and one-on-one engagement. So what Parabellum is doing, let's just push pressure onto the choke point, onto the key point position from 3 or 4 different angles. Use every single one that we have. There's no way they're going to kill all of us. It's not an owl that they're up against. They're up against an SMG-11.
They can't kill all of us. Maybe it's Eska's second pair of headphones. They've all got them, actually.
Is extra sound.
So just in case. Yeah. But no, okay, Parabellum, I'm loving this, as I'm sure a lot of people are, but NIP aren't. They've taken their time out. They've been able to get themselves a bit of safety, but look at the pace at which they're burning their way through the top of this hold. Musi, he's trying to play himself off and offer a bit of countenance around the blue stairs. They are aware. And Psycho is trying to offer a little bit of an extension on main as well. They're flirting with the danger of this game, but Parabellum, they're droning them out. They're trying to find them. They want a handle. They want the intel. And last time we were here, they just dug themselves in via dirt and found themselves inside the site, as we've seen them do a few times. NIP pull themselves back. They get a little bit more of a handle inside the site itself. They've realized that wide game isn't working for them. And to be fair, in the previous round, the site hold wasn't working, but Church and Arsenal as a site offers them a lot more in terms of brick and mortar. And, well, Julio offers himself up a little bit, but can't quite get the catch.
4-6. Parabellum, you got 2 match points in your pocket. There is 100 seconds left in this round for you to get your execute going, for you to get the plan down and make sure that the timer is in your favor. You can pull a very big upset here if you pull it off. As they are preparing themselves, they are getting information in their tunnel, opening up vertical angles above the Church and Arsenal bomb sites. They are indeed trying to find themselves a way in. So far, NIP not giving them anything, and there we have it. Psycho with the first kill. Penguin will drop. That's going to be very, very helpful here for NIP to try and bring it back, but Soda is going to be able to pick up a huge kill. That is maybe turning it into the favor of Parabellum again. Yeah, very clean play there. Pino is setting himself up with the C4 to lob over the top, try and catch anybody that wants to blow open or gets to the bottom of main, but as Sonar swings on the pressure, Musi's dancing on the table, and he's the one that keeps himself grooving. Sonar's taken out the equation, and Eska goes for the plant, covered by Spirits from Blue, sticks it in the long term and finds himself in a post plant, but Pipes is the point of pressure now. There's a body on site, Dirt no longer, but it's main that becomes the big problem. Spirits goes for the rotate. Are they aware that he's pulled back? They're in a 2 versus 1. They are. Musi is going to head up as Pino offers the cover. Can he get into the site in time? It's just a few seconds. You got to look down. You got to drop the man. You can't quite get him. There it is. Swings right to Parabellum! Parabellum! Unbelievable clutch at the end there. Played it perfectly. Game sense carries you through. Take your first win with pride.